how are we doing today? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Favour Adebowale. This is your first time here, and I'm so glad that you're here. Today we'll be talking about when our relationship with God becomes boring. Because we're human beings, many times we move, God never moves. God is constant. The Bible says Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. But sometimes we move. We move because we have issues in our minds. We move because we're pressured. Sometimes we move, and when we move, of course, we just go through the motion. We just go through the motions. We just do devotion because we need to do devotion. We're not. There's no excitement to just go and sit at the feet of Jesus. For example, if you wake up every morning at 5, just excited to sit before the Lord, and you're feeling that you're not feeling it these days, this is what we're talking about today. How do we remedy that situation? How do we ensure that you get your fire back, you get your excitement back? Now, the Bible in Mark chapter 12, verse 30 to 31 says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, with all your strength. The second is like this: love your neighbor as yourself. Usually, when we begin to feel bored in our walk with the Lord, I believe it's because we are focused on ourselves. We're so focused on ourselves that we are focused on what is not happening. When is this going to happen? When is this going to happen? And then you begin to think, oh, what's the point anyway? Don't let yourself get to that place. Focus on the Lord. Focus on what He is doing. And just enjoy His presence. The idea of working with the Lord is not to use Him. The idea is to serve Him. The idea is to be in a relationship with Him. The idea is to love Him. The idea is so that you can come into the image of Jesus. The idea is so that you can become like the Lord Jesus Christ eventually. But then, if you're just focused on the things that the Lord will give you, the husband, the job, the money, those things, if you trust them, they would eventually come. But then you do not sit before God because of what you want from Him. You sit before God because you love Him, And from that, and from a relationship with God, then you begin to reap the benefits of just being His friend. When you're the friend of a rich person, you would get some benefits. So basically, when it seems like things like you're getting bored in your relationship, you need to check your heart. You need to ask yourself, what's happening? What are you focused on? Are you focusing on what the Lord? Are you focusing on who the Lord is really? On His goodness, on His kindness, on His loving, tender mercies? Or are you focusing on what you don't have? Why your business is not growing? Or I don't know, just are you focusing on that issue as opposed to focusing on the Lord? Secondly, the scripture that we read says we should love your neighbor as yourself. That is verse 31. It says love your neighbor. Mark 12:31. It says, and love your neighbor as yourself. When you begin to live to show Jesus through your life, then you don't have time to begin to worry about things that are not happening. You barely have time to be bored, really, because it's just, I don't know about you, but for me, when I'm used by God, it's just such a blessing. There's nothing like it on this earth, really, to be used by the Lord, to be used by the Lord to bring a word of encouragement, to be used by the Lord to feed someone. There's nothing like it, So if you feel like if you're feeling discouraged, you're feeling sad, and you're not just able to connect, and you feel like your relationship with God has become more like religion and you're just going through the motions, how about serving other people? How about just investing in relationships? How about just removing your mind from yourself and focusing on just helping other people? You can ask your friends, how can I pray with you today? If someone is downcasted, how can you minister to that person? God has called all of us to represent Him. The Bible says we are ambassadors of the Lord Jesus Christ, and we can all be pastors. We don't have to have a pulpit. The streets are empty, and the Lord's looking for people to shine His light on the streets. And so instead of feeling sorry for yourself and wondering when your own success is going to come, or feeling jealous about other people's progress, why don't you begin to invest, invest in shining the light of Jesus in relationships, praying for people. God is interested in our relationship with not one another, and not just in a relationship with Him. And usually, if your relationship with the Lord is not working well, it can affect your relationship with other people. And so, I just want to invite you basically today to strengthen your relationship with the Lord by focusing on Him, looking unto Him, and then showing His light. As you strengthen your relationship with Him, you show His light to other people. Praise God. I hope that this has blessed you today, and I hope that from today your relationship with the Lord will be better, because you would focus on who He is as opposed to what He can give you. Thank you so much for joining me. If you made it till the end of this video, I invite you to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you next week. Bye.